Hey YouTube, welcome to my kitchen. Doing something a little different today. You see I have a couple of knives laying out here. I'm going to do a kind of a knife designation and a little rant. Well, first the knife designation. I've worked in restaurants for, well, I worked in restaurants for a couple of decades in my life. And I made it all the way up to sous chef, assistant exec chef. I did a lot of neat stuff in restaurants. So I kind of know what knives are. So a lot of people don't know what knives are in the kitchen. Not saying tactical knives, you know, not a tactical folder like I carry, but a little kitchen knife. We're going to start with the most common. I'm going to go through all these different knives, and then I'm going to do my rant, just because I want to do my rant. The most common knife most people have in their kitchen is not a chef's knife, but this is a cook's knife. And this is just a pressed stamped steel knife that you would usually see in anybody's kitchen. Usually you can get these really cheap. These are actually, you can get this I think I got these at, these actually I think I got off the truck when I was working in the restaurants, but these are just Dexter's. You can get these at Smart and Final for like 10 bucks. Literally, and they stay sharp, they're good cook's knives. Now, there's many variations of cook's knives. I have a couple, another Dexter here. And this is just another restaurant one that the sharpening company, when I was working, I would buy them from the sharpening company just to see it has a lot of wear and tear on it. And again, another one's a stamped cook's knife, nothing special. The guys in the line would use these. And then the next stage we go to is a chef's knife. Now the difference between a chef's knife and a cook's knife, a chef's knife is usually forged steel. It's much better quality. This isn't a high brand name. This was actually purchased off from Cisco, a restaurant equipment supply and a restaurant food supplier. And this is just a 10-inch chef's knife. It's one I use quite a bit. You've seen me use this in some videos. And they make them in all different sizes. This is a 14-inch restaurant chef's knife. Usually you would use this in the production kitchen. You cut up lots of vegetables or something like that. Then from that style of knife we go to a serrated knife. Now they're all just serrated knife. There's no cook's knife, chef's knife. They're just serrated knives. They're used for different things. Like this, with this kind of a blade, it's called a bread knife. It's a serrated bread knife. This is also, and now we're getting to a nicer brand. This is a Trident serrated bread knife. This is a Fochner, very old, beat up, Fochner serrated bread knife as well. Now another kind of serrated knife is a fruit and vegetable knife. This is a fruit and vegetable knife. This is made by Trident as well. It's a Trident fruit and vegetable knife. And then we go to slicers. This is a serrated slicer. This is also a Cisco. This is not a Dexter, this is a Cisco. I got this off the truck when I was working in the restaurant industry. And this is a meat slicing knife. It's pretty sharp, a decent meat slicing knife. Again, they're very inexpensive. This kind of knife you can get for $10 or $12. Whereas this one is not serrated, but it does have the air gap in it, making it easier. And this is a Trident. I know this is this is a Hinkle. This is one of my Hinkles. And this is a slicing knife. This is a meat slicing knife. Similar to this is a meat slicing knife as well. Just that this one, the marketing gimmick with the air gaps is it won't stick to the meat. It's easier to slice. Now we go to a different genre of knife, a boning knife. Now this is also a Trident boning knife. Been sharpened quite a bit. The blade was much thicker when it started off its life looking like this. And now it's done down, but very good flexible blade for boning. Boning meat, good for boning chickens, or if you're breaking down a side and you actually are trying to debone a piece of meat. Here's another Dexter, restaurant series Dexter knife, and again, flexible blade, well-made knife. These are the ones that you would see most of the guys working with. Again, this is just a newer one. This is actually, I got this one, I don't even remember where, but this is actually a cheap Chinese knockoff. It doesn't hold its edge as well as the Dexters and the Tridents, the Fochners, some of those. Now this is going to a different kind of knife. This is a Gerber. This is actually a utility knife. It's not a boning knife. This is a utility knife. You can use it for boning. This one again has been sharpened to death. But it, again, very flexible blades on utility knives and boning knives. And that's a utility knife. Now I have a couple different paring knives. The most common you would see is just a common paring knife. This is also a trident. Common paring knife. Nothing special about it. I have another, this is a Forstner. Yeah, it's a Forstner paring knife. And then I have a Dexter paring knife as well. I did run kitchens, so I have knives for a whole crew. Now there are specialty paring knives. This is actually not a paring, this is an apple knife. It has a bent blade. This is a trident apple knife. Very useful knife in the kitchen. I actually use this more than I would use a paring knife. As being a trident, it stays sharp longer, but it's for when you're cutting around something, you can really cut better than it has an angle. And this is a coring knife. This is a very inexpensive coring knife. Again, I think I bought this from, yeah, I bought this from Cisco as well, off the Cisco truck. And it has a bent so you can core out things with a bent blade, and it is a funny serrated edge. You see this kind of serrated edge on like very, very inexpensive steak knives. And then the last knife I have is called a scimitar or butcher's knife. Now here's where my rant comes in. I was driving to work today, and you probably heard this kind of a news report. Wife chased her husband and cut him with a butcher's knife. I don't know how many kitchens have one of these in it. This is an inexpensive one. This is a Forstner. High quality, but inexpensive. You keep butcher's knives reasonably sharp. Now they're not super sharp, but they're reasonably sharp, you know. So I can break down a side of beef with this particular knife without a problem. I've broken down many. When I worked in the butchery, I would break down sides of beef, top rounds, bottom rounds, whole sides with this kind of a knife. Not for boning, but this is a butcher's knife. If you go into a butcher shop that is a meat market, you'll see these knives actually hanging on the side of the butcher in a metal pocket hanging on the side of them. Usually they would pull this out, and sometimes they're not this thick, they were sharpened down, and they use these till they're nothing. But this is a butcher's knife. Now, like I said, I don't know too many houses that have a butcher's knife. Seeing that it's a $175 knife. And in my personal kitchen, I almost never pull this out. It's packed away. So there's my rant and some information on some different knives. Hopefully you found this video informative. This kind of stuff drives me crazy. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. God bless.